Don't you just love New Year's? You get to start all over. Everybody gets a second chance. Welcome to Primary Technology, the show about the tech news that matters. This week, it's all about you. You sent in questions across social media. You let us know if you actually use the Apple Invites app, and so we're going to answer all of them in today's episode. Plus, Jason has a very fun announcement. I have an announcement, things that are happening in January, and a ton more. This episode is brought to you by Anti-Gravity and Copilot Money, and of course, all of you, the members who have been supporting us all year and into next. Thank you all for that. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Robles, and joining me is my friend Jason Aten. How's it going, Jason?
It's very, very good. Things are good.
Good. It's Happy New Year. It's going to be New Year's Eve as this airs.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? Do you guys stay up till midnight?
Absolutely not. No, I mean, sort of. Our daughters, though, are at the age where now they're going off with friends to do things.
Oh,
and this is the first time that that's been the case. And so we were thinking we would try to find something fun to do, and then we're like, yeah, and we'll just probably go to bed.
Okay, super fun.
Yeah,
we do. In Florida, you can buy fireworks because
you can buy them here.
Oh, you can in Michigan?
Yeah,
you couldn't in New York, where I grew up. So buying fireworks was never a thing, at least legally, and so we never did that growing up. But here in Florida, there's tents everywhere. You can go to any Walmart, and there's a tent in the parking lot that says fireworks. And so we don't buy like the, big fireworks, the ones that shoot high in the air, but we buy the boxes that are like spew sparkles and all that kind of stuff, and swords that are like basically Roman candles. Like, we'll do that kind of stuff, and hopefully no one gets a finger.
I should be clear. No one buys fireworks for New Year's in Michigan because it's friggin' 3 degrees outside.
Listen, I woke up it was cold in Florida. I woke up and it was actually in the I say cold, in the 50s. Which is a brisk summer day in Michigan.
If it was 50 right now, I'd have to swim to my back door because there's the snow that's here between.
Snow.
Although it was actually, this is weird, no one cares, but Sunday it got up to 50, started raining torrentially, and like 6 hours later it was 22 degrees and everything was just a sheet of ice everywhere.
That's crazy. But when I was in New York, this stuff happens.
It's called a bomb cyclone. Stephen.
A bomb? Like
that's
a really cool cyclone?
Yeah, like 50 mile an hour frozen wind is what it is.
Wow.
Like
that
the
cyclone
movie, like the
slaps.
Frozen movie, like where Elsa makes all the frozen stuff. That's basically Michigan.
That's basically Michigan.
Yep.
Hold on, my Instacart person just texted me again. So I'm not editing this week. Just so everybody knows, I'm not putting chapters. I can't edit this week. There's too much going on, and I need to reply to. I'm gonna live reply to my Instacarter because I don't have time to get groceries, and my wife needs stuff for dinner. Is there, I'm not even going to use correct pronunciation, is there more chicken thighs you can get green-wise? Okay, great. So anyway, this is literally, if you like this show, you should listen to our
not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored by Instacart or my Dasher, whose
or
name
chicken thighs,
or Publix green-wise chicken thighs. Do you know where that quote was from? It's very generic, but you get to start all over. Everybody gets a second chance. It is a movie I've seen. It's a famous movie. Feather in the movie poster, or at least one of the themes.
I feel like it's got to be.
It's coming to you. I can feel it. Shrimp, jumbo shrimp.
Forrest Gump.
Shrimp scampi. That's it. You got it.
Okay. The shrimp gave it away for sure.
The shrimp gave it away. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Because I was leaning in the Tom Hanks direction.
Okay.
Then shrimp made it for sure.
Yeah. Did you finish Pluribus, by the way? We watched.
I have not watched all of the last episode. I have started it.
Listen. No spoilers. I was a little disappointed at the very end. I had high hopes, but
a betrayal. Is that what you're disappointed about?
No, just the overall this isn't even a great cliffhanger. Well, I mean, it's a cliffhanger, but anyway, you'll see it. We'll talk about that in the new year. Our next episode is going to be live from the show floor, everybody. So you know, CES.
Whoa.
Next week.
That's true.
And we never have it officially said on the show, but we are in fact both going to be at CES. We're going to, at least I'm going to try and record something on the show floor with Jason, see how that works, but it's going to happen. We're going to be live at the show floor. So anyway.
Yeah. So I have to bring my microphone and my little microphones. My DJI mics.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have all mine, too.
Okay.
I bring 18 microphones wherever I go, just in case I need to record.
Are we going to record video? We should work this out when we're not on the air. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. This is unedited. No chapter. Don't worry. Chapters come back next week. We'll see how Apple does with auto-generated chapters with this nonsense that we're going to go through this week. I have no idea what's about to happen. But anyway, 5-star reviews. Let's do that. Someone impersonated me in our 5-star reviews or is also named Stephen Robles with a PH. I don't know what is the case. They said, I use the Apple Invites app to invite my wife and kids to dinner daily, but they never RSVP. They just crash the party. I don't know if this person's faking it. I don't know if this is a deep fake review, but thanks for the 5 stars, I guess. That wasn't me. I didn't do that. So anyway, there's that. Jack Eber from the USA, longtime listener, recent member. Thanks for supporting the show. He enjoys the banter of the show. J.F. Zell from the UK has been listening for around a year. Loves the enthusiasm of Stephen mixed with the more grounded views of Jason.
I have enthusiasm. I'm very enthusiastic about my grounded views. I just want to be clear.
You're very enthusiastic about your grounded views. He says we're a fantastic duo. Thank you for that. Battery percentage off after listening to the show for a while. I'm influencing people for the right cause.
All right.
And then Luke Ireland from the UK. I think he's reviewed before, but he says as 2025 draws to a close, remember, the best start to the new year is a subscription to the show for you, others, or both. I totally agree.
I do agree, but I didn't think Ireland is not a part of the UK, though, right? Let's just be clear.
No, Luke Ireland is his name.
Okay. But still, Ireland is not a part of the UK as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think so.
Okay, great.
It's part of...
it's like part of the islands, but it's
British
part of the
Isles
European Union, I think.
That is
true.
true.
They'll take your euros there.
I don't want to get political.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sounds good.
I
Move on.
don't know if that's political or
I've
not.
literally been to Ireland once for about 16 hours, and I didn't want to be there. Not because Ireland's not a wonderful place, but because
you were
we weren't supposed
mid-flight.
I was supposed to be home.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I would like to go. What is it? You kiss the Blarney Stone or whatever? Don't you like hang upside down and you kiss the stone that...
I have no idea, but if we ever decide to go do a live show, we should do it in Ireland.
I like it. Okay. We do have fans there. We have listeners. So that's
I
right.
met them in the airport.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, of course. So lastly, Monty in the community. We asked last week Apple invites. So we have the review that mentioned invites. I don't know if that's accurate or not. But Monty said he created an Independence extravaganza event for the 4th of July. Invited his wife, adult kids, and their significant others. The invitation was gorgeous. Worked fine even for that one Android phone in the family. So we have a legitimate Apple invites user, it seems. And I do want to try and use it. I think it'll be fun to use. But anyways, let us know. You leave us a 5-star rating and review. Be the first one of 2026. And let us know. Do you use the Apple Invites app or not? But let us know. Okay, couple other listener things. And then Jason has a big announcement. And then I have an announcement. And then we're going to answer all your questions. The whole episode is just answering your questions. First of all, pins are still making it around the world. Big Broncos fan on Threads. He's a big fan. Appreciate you. This is the new pin. He got it all the way in Boulder, Colorado. That's fun. In the Flatirons of Boulder. Do you know what that is?
No.
The Flatirons?
No idea. I know what Boulder is.
I know
what
Boulder is.
Usually round, so the flat part doesn't make any sense. But
wow. But anyway, thank you for the pins. That is, or for sending in photos. If you got the new pin, tag me on social media. We'll love to show it here. But anyway, we have some exciting announcements. Nothing to do with the show, but it's us doing it.
Yeah.
And I think our people would like to know. So, and I'm excited because Jason interviewed a very special person yesterday for his thing. But Jason, tell our audience about your thing.
Okay. I hate to do this because you're the host, and so you get to decide what we're doing. Can I do the follow-up thing really quickly because then I can focus on this? Okay. I talked about, I sort of briefly talked about, and then I wrote an article about how we canceled Spotify a long time ago, but the most annoying thing was that I didn't have any of my playlists. I had been using Spotify for like a decade, right? Had a lot of these playlists. Right. And then it occurred to me that I could screenshot my playlists, open ChatGPT and say, make me an Apple Music playlist of these songs. And it just did it. It was perfect. It was fantastic. I loved it. I wrote an article about it. That's how much I loved it. I thought I had found the perfect use for the ChatGPT integration in an iPhone. And then I texted you a link, but one of our listeners, or someone who read the article, I guess, I don't know if they're a listener, basically said, did you know that you could just go to settings, app, music, transfer music from other services? But apparently in the settings app, if you go to the apps and then go to the music app, there is literally just a setting that will let you transfer your music from another service, and you can just tap Spotify, log in. It moved all my playlists, everything.
What?
I had no idea that this was a thing.
I don't even believe that's real.
It's real. I did it, Steven.
It's real?
And then however, if you only care about a couple, because I had a lot of playlists in there I didn't care about, if you only want a couple of them, it's actually probably faster to do my way, because what ended up happening is there was about 70 songs that were not available in Apple Music exactly the way they appear in Spotify. So I had to go through this whole list and either select an alternate or ignore. But it's a very cool thing. I'm sorry. I just wanted to let our listeners know that because I wish I would have known before.
That's I did go to the settings. It is in fact there. You can also see my Instacart live activity that I mentioned before. But they're just transfer music from other services. Does it work with Tidal? Apple.songshift.com You can transfer from Amazon Music, Deezer, Spotify, Tidal, and YouTube. Powered by SongShift. I had no idea.
Yeah. So someone named Shad Itchner on Threads sent that to me. So thank you. I don't know if you're a listener. Really appreciate it. But anyway, okay, moving on. Sorry.
No, that's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll focus on the other thing, and then we'll talk about what we're announcing, because you went viral again.
Okay.
On social media.
It happens occasionally.
Jason has a knack for just stirring things up, it seems.
Hold on. In this case, I was not stirring anything up. I just made a joke. And yeah, go ahead.
I always see the viral thread after, like, you quote tweeting it and saying, like, I can't believe I did this again. For some reason, I never see the original, like, when that comes out. I think because I stay off the For You page, and basically if it's controversial, Threads will put it on that For You page. And if it's just like boring stuff that I actually want to read from my followers, then that's all I see on the following page.
Well, and I think isn't the following page chronological? So like if you didn't see it when I posted it, you just didn't see it. So
correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And I am not a completionist on the Threads following page because it's too much.
Yeah. So here's what happened. The other day, our daughter, who has been accepted to college and has decided where she's going to go, she's going to play soccer, sent her this email of like, here's some things you should do. And one of the things you should do is it says download the Outlook email app and set up your school email, because she already has a school email. And I thought, that is so mean. Why would they make you do that? And it turns out you actually have to be using the Outlook email app. I don't know why. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me that you'd have to use that particular app. So, as you do, I just went to Threads and posted, the college our daughter plans to attend in the fall requires students to use the Outlook app for school email, and I have to go look up whether we can get our acceptance deposit back. That's it. It's not a hilarious joke, but it is like, if you know me, you read that and you're like, oh, that's kind of funny, Jason. Like, right?
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
I thought it was funny.
And you can see there's 202 replies, and all of them are, you're a friggin' moron. How could you torture your daughter like this? Why are you setting her up for failure? You're such an idiot.
That's a stupid reason to withdraw from college. That you're really doing.
Or people who are like, why does no one understand sarcasm? That's the only two responses to this entire email. It's like, of all the reasons to withdraw from a college, that is perhaps the dumbest.
Jason, what's hilarious is like, and this is social media, but like none of these people know who you are. And obviously, and again, like when I post something that might be remotely controversial, but I'm being sarcastic, I will literally put in the post, asterisk, this is sarcastic, because people just don't, I don't know. They just can't leave it alone.
I'm not willing to ruin the bit by doing that, though. And so I just did it. And so then a day later, a couple hours later, I don't know, I just posted, I quote tweeted it, and I said, today I learned that the Venn diagram of people who do not understand sarcasm and people who don't understand that Outlook is a garbage email app is a perfect circle. Like, I could not figure out what was more surprising to me. That so many people don't understand sarcasm, or that so many people were defending the Outlook email app. Like, there's better things out there.
There's no reason to defend that app, number one. Two, it's not horrendous. It's not Microsoft Teams, but it's also not.
Okay, true.
You know what I mean? But the thing to compare it to that's actually worse is also a Microsoft product. But, like, first of all, can you not, like, log in on the web with her school email account? Like,
probably. I didn't go that far down the rabbit hole because it just
curious.
occurred to me that it was funny to be like, forget it, you can't go there if they're going to make you use the Outlook email app. But some people feel like that is, I literally got responses that are like, she's an adult, let her do what she wants. I'm like, I promise you she does not want to do this. And then there's other people who are like, wait till she gets to a job, she's going to have to use it anyway. I'm like, yes, but I won't be paying for her to have a job. I'm going to be paying for her to go to school. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
C. Barnes, who's also a listener and follower on Threads, he said you should request a meeting with the school administration and IT administrator to discuss this atrocity, and maybe get me to represent you in the case, as in me, Stephen Robles. And I would defend you in that. I mean, anyway,
yes, it went viral again. Not nearly as viral as my photo of an iPhone 17 Pro Max that had 1.9 million views.
Sometimes the internet doesn't make sense.
It does. And that's what my point was. Threads is a weird place.
It is a very strange place. I stay off. Anytime that I start seeing posts that are just like engagement bait or rage bait, I know I've been switched to the For You feed, and I just know to switch back because it's so obvious.
But here's the thing. Okay, this is actually real. The thing that Threads has ruined for us, the thing that Twitter was the best at, was just smart, witty takes on things. Now,
Oh yeah, you can't be witty.
I'm not arguing that my take is smart or witty. I think it was funny, whatever. I think a lot of people who understand, like, it's a funny joke, like, yeah,
Yes.
because no one withdraws their child from college
No,
because of the
no.
email they have to use. Like, fine. But that has been completely ruined because of Threads, because everyone is either extremely engagement bait seeking or apparently very dense, and there's no in between. There's like no nuance. There's no, people don't understand. It's like there are people who literally have late night talk shows because they were funny on Twitter, right? Like there are like actual like people who have careers because of that. And now it's like you try to make, it's like the thing that was funny to me is people were like, oh, nice engagement post, nice whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it was like, of course, it's just meant to be funny. Why does anyone post anything on the internet if you just want people to scroll past it? Like, come on.
That is, that's a good point. Like the whole idea, you know what I mean? But I would say I post things that hopefully provide value. Most of the time, it's just entertaining, funny, something I think is interesting. I took a picture of a party speaker I saw in the firework tent, and I'm going to tag Nilay Patel because that's The Verge talks about his party speakers. But yeah, just I don't know. We've lost nuance, and maybe we can get it back in 2026, Jason. I don't know.
I just don't want to live in a world where you have to put hashtag sarcasm in order to make a joke.
But that could also be kind of funny. Anyway, let's talk about what we're excited to launch.
Okay.
Because I'll do mine real quick because I think mine's going to be quick.
Great.
I think I mentioned in a past episode, but I'm going to announce this weekend with a video on my YouTube channel, Shortcuts University. ShortcutsUniversity.com will be the website. I don't know I think it's live, but it just has a sign-up form. But I'll actually have a legitimate website up by the weekend. But a lot of people ask, how can they learn shortcuts? How can they be able to build advanced things on their own? And I'm going to do a live weekly cohort, and I thought it was going to be 4 weeks, then I thought it was going to be 8 weeks, and then I actually built out the weeks for what I would want to cover, and it's now 13 weeks. So it is a 13-week course, and it is going to be a one-time purchase, but you'll get an annual a subscription to my Shortcuts community included. I'm going to have discounts for those listeners for the podcast here, discount if you sign up quickly, and I'm going to max it out at 200 people because Circle, the platform we use for our primary tech community, and my Shortcuts community maxes out at 200 live viewers when you do like a live webinar thing. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be 200 people max. And I will, you could do the sign up form. I'll send an email out when I launch it. But anyway, I'm excited to launch that. The first week will be February 2nd. That will be the first day that I do a live session. And then, 13 weeks out. And I'm going to record it all and then release it, as like a course some other time in the future. But I'm excited to do it. And people who want to learn how to build shortcuts and basically know everything that I know and they can start doing it for themselves, it'll be that. So shortcutsuniversity.com. And so I'm excited to do that.
How is it going to be sort of different? Like, what do people get more from it than just the community that you already have?
So the community I have, a lot of it is like building shortcuts, sharing them, but not really going through like the guts of the shortcut and explaining the variables, the actions. And so Shortcuts University is going to be like, week 1 is these actions. Choose from list, choose from menu, ask for input, set variable. And I'm going to explain those actions, create a few shortcuts with those actions, and then I'm going to give homework. And I'm going to tell people, now you build a shortcut this week using these actions and submit them in the community, which will be closed just to people in Shortcuts University. And then I'll have a whole week on like shortcut input and output. How to use shortcut input, what can it accept, using it from the share sheet. So it's going to be way more detailed to actually teach you how to use it. And so you can build things from scratch, understand what the actions do, understand how to use variables. So now I had one video on my YouTube channel that was very Shortcuts 101, but it was like almost 3 years ago that I did that. So this will be much more detailed. It'll be very much like to learn how to build them yourself. Like that's the goal. And that's not something that I've really done and had a methodical approach to it, and I don't think I've seen it done anywhere else either. So, yeah, hopefully that answers it. That's my elevator pitch. That's a good question. So anyway, Shortcuts University, I'm launching that in January, and you're launching something. Are you going to launch it in January?
I am. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, tell us about it. What are you doing?
Okay. So I am launching like the short version is I'm launching a podcast and a Substack. Okay. I'll start by saying it like that. And apparently you can host a podcast on Substack. I'm not going to do that because I feel weird I don't understand what it's doing. Like I don't get it. I don't want you to listen to a podcast in the Substack app. I don't even know if that's how it works.
I don't know.
But I'm just going to bypass that particular step, and I'm just launching it. So I'm sending you the link. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to interview what I think are some of the most creative people in the world, talk to them about how they turn ideas into reality. So like how do you go from having an idea in your head, knowing what ideas are good, what is your creative process like, and how are you doing actual work like out there in the world and turning it into stuff? And so I'm fascinated by this. There are not a lot of great books on this. Creativity Inc. is probably the best one. It's by Ed Catmull. He was one of the founders and the former president of Pixar. There are not a lot of other ones where people just sort of talk about like what is their creative process like. I think there are a lot of people who skim across the top of it, right? It's like, oh, I have a notion or I have a thing. It's like, no, I want to know like what is it you're actually doing? And so I've gathered a lot of people across a lot of different disciplines. I did an interview just yesterday that will be the first one that we published with someone who does anamorphic chalk art, which is a thing. Like there are very few people in the world who do this. He's probably one of the best, right? Like in the world at this particular thing. So. And we don't say that because we like him. I think it's actually true. Like his stuff is amazing. I'm really excited that he was willing to do it and be one of the first people to do this. And we just talked about the process of how do you go from having an idea to putting chalk on the ground, that kind of thing. And so I've lined up some authors. I've lined up some CEOs who are leading companies and doing interesting things. I've lined up some people who are making physical products and some people who are making YouTube videos and some people who are photographers. And so it's across all the disciplines. And the idea will be you can just listen to the podcast for free. You can sign up for the Substack and you'll get the interview for free. We're going to do that. But then if you decide you want to pay for it, there will be 2 newsletters a week where we'll talk about the creative process and about creative tools. So it's kind of like the intersection of like, what does creative process look like, but also what are some of the fun tools that people are using to do that? So software, gadgets, devices, that kind of thing. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I will just say that if you sign up just because you want the interviews, that's great. Happy to have you do that. I've talked to Stephen about this a bunch. I'm not doing 52 of them. I cannot do one every single week. My goal is to release them weekly in 10 at a time and then take a little bit of time to record them. Because I don't know, Stephen, you've probably learned this, but literally the hardest part of this is getting the people to agree to a time and then showing up. It is not hard to think of people, and it is not even hard to get them to agree to do it. It's just to get them to show up at a certain time. So, yeah.
Well, I'm very excited. There's a lot of interview podcasts out there. They're hard to do, but I feel like even the ones that talk about creativity, like you mentioned, it's a tools-based show, which I think Mike Hurley's been doing that the best. His State of the Workflow series has been great. Yep. There's a lot of interview shows about the creator economy, like Colin and Samir, and then you have other big shows like Diary of a CEO, but I do feel like there's a niche that you can make here and that you will be especially good at because you've talked to so many CEOs, because you have a foot in the creative world, you have a foot in the tech world, that I think you can have a really compelling show. You have really wide-ranging guests. You've shared some of the guests you've already booked and now that you've already recorded with. And so I'm really excited to listen to this show. And so sign up. I'm going to sign up right now to get the shows. But I'm excited for you, Jason. I think it's going to be really cool.
I appreciate it. It's going to be fun. We're gonna give it a shot. So
that's very cool. And the reason I know it's so hard because I actually tried to do an interview show a couple of years ago, and I have exactly one episode. It's still out there. If anybody wants to do it. I actually landed. It's such a shame because I landed Ed Catmull and interviewed him and released that episode. I thought it was a pretty good episode. And then that was it. The show ended. So literally, whatever the who was it, the Baja Man who did who let the dogs out or whatever.
Yeah.
It literally that one hit wonder. I didn't know how to package it. I didn't know what to do, but I will put it. First of all, the first link in the show notes today will be Jason's new show and Substack. So go subscribe to that. Then it will be shortcutsuniversity.com. So if you want to join that email list and be aware of that. And then the third link in today's show notes will be my single episode of. I thought it would be cool to talk about like how to learn, because I feel like learning is a skill, and a lot of times people do interviews and talk about like the process that they went through to become an expert in a field. But I feel like there's also like a layer above that where it's almost like, how did you train your brain to recognize these patterns or begin to like gather this information? And I never got past the first episode, but maybe that's something you can include in your show. I feel like that would be a worthwhile thing. How do people's brains work, I think, is an interesting topic that'll be, it might be a challenge to tease out, but I think you could do it, and I think it'd be really fun.
I think, and just for our listeners who might be interested in something like this, it's called creative effort, whatever, because creativity is hard, and people, the idea is I'm going to be talking to people who are working in creativity, right? Their work is creative, not just they sit in a room and think about creative things. They're actually doing it.
They're doing it.
And the reason I think this is going to be fun for me is the hardest thing for anyone to explain is how do they know that an idea is good? It's a very hard thing to explain to people. It's like, how are you deciding, Stephen, which videos to make? How are you deciding which photo to take or which book to write or which chapter? Like, it is such a hard thing. And really what I realized it's like, I don't actually know I do stuff all the time. People ask me, how do you decide which article to write? I'm like, I don't know. It's just, this one seems like it'll be interesting to me. So I write it. But that is not a objective thing that you can teach someone. And I want to find what are the pieces you can teach someone and help people be more creative. So,
well, maybe if you're ever looking for a YouTube creator as a guest, maybe could rearrange my schedule. But
we'll have to talk about that.
I would love to do that. But I would say it is interesting. Like, now that I've done YouTube for 3+ years, like a lot, there's this weird shift. It was gradual, obviously, because I can't point to a specific moment, but like my brain just started thinking in YouTube videos.
Yep.
As I'm sure your brain thinks in articles. And I might see a piece of tech, or someone might ask me a question. I might think of a topic, and like my brain immediately goes to formatting what the thumbnail could be or the title. And then like you just think in that framework, and then you start seeing everything in that framework, and it becomes easier to come up with ideas, although sometimes it's still difficult. But then also, it's like the first muscle you develop whenever you try to learn a new skill is the ability to critique that thing. Like if you were trying to become a good singer, like before you even become really good, the first thing you can do is recognize when someone's bad and even when you're bad. And that's why it's really hard to actually get past that point and continue growing in that skill, because you know how bad you are, because that's the first skill to develop, not like the good singing, really good skill.
Right.
And so, it's just anyway, I'm excited to listen to it. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, like just the idea, even with YouTube, like with articles, people will tell me stories. And then if I seem really interested in the story, all of a sudden, like, wait, are you going to write about this? Because I just have that gear that turns in my brain as I'm
slowly
listening to a story.
Out the pen and pad.
And I'm like, hang on. What usually happens is I'm half listening to something and they'll say something. I'm like, hang on. Wait, start over. I need you to tell me this whole story because I think there's something there. So,
and that's also the thing is just, making YouTube videos. It's a lot of experimentation, lightning strikes. Not the other way around. It's not like you wait around to have the idea and then you guaranteed it's a hit. It's like, well, you just keep doing stuff.
Yep.
Lightning strikes to the things that are good and that resonate with an audience, and then you repeat that process over and over again. And then you slowly develop the taste or that concept or whatever. So anyway, we're doing an intro to your show, and I
really appreciate it.
You do the show. you do the show. We have a bunch of listener questions I want to get to. We'll try to get through as many as we can. Mike from Coral Springs, Florida, said, good evening. I keep hearing that Apple TV is about to get an upgrade. It was supposed to get an upgrade all fall, and we never got it in 2025. Still using the first-gen 4K. Loves the UI, using it as a smart hub. Can't think of anything I would change. Curious as what you think the next hardware upgrade will be, and whether you can what do you consider optimizing an Apple TV for your home? I think with the Apple TV, it's going to get whatever the newest chip is, just to future-proof it. Right now there's that weird dual tier Apple TV where you can get like the Wi-Fi only, which doesn't have Thread, or you can get the Ethernet one that does have Thread, and like there's a weird like storage stuff. I'm hoping the next Apple TV is just one model. It's a good model. It has the Ethernet port. Please don't take the Ethernet port out of the Apple TV. I would really struggle with that. And it'll just be a little faster and probably support standards that I don't even know about. Like when Dolby Vision, that was a big standard that was the Apple TV got, and then like HDR10 or 10 plus. So it'll probably just have a couple more standards it can do, and maybe an HDMI 2 point whatever certification. It's usually those upgrades that are kind of boring, but The one thing that I'm hoping they will do, I don't know if they actually will, is put Find My in the remote so you can make it make a sound without having to put a dumb air tag in a silicone case like I have it. That's what I'm hoping.
So what would make an Apple TV optimized? I feel like it's pretty optimized, right?
It's pretty optimized.
Literally
yes.
the only thing I think that Apple needs to change, fine, put a new chip in it, whatever. Like you're not going to, it's already 4K. You're not going to get something more from it.
It doesn't stutter. It's not.
Yeah, it's not going to play, what is it? Frogger, like the show.
Oh, Crossy Road.
It's not going to play it faster, right? Or
Sneaky Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's not going to. You're not going to be more sneaky faster. Like it's just, it's overpowered for what it's doing. Like
by the way, Apple needs to have that tagline for free: more sneaky, more fast. That's your next Apple TV tagline.
More sneaky, faster. There you go.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. Like they may try to make it smaller. Maybe it's pretty much optimized, right? Like it is fine. It is great. I don't. If they're gonna do one different, I could see them doing like an Apple TV. They don't need to do a sound bar. Like that market is covered.
Yeah.
They don't need to do something like that. I think they're going to just keep giving it spec bumps. And I think it's possible that we see the form factor change a little bit, maybe the storage options. But again, it's a device built for streaming. What do you need storage for? I don't even understand what people are storing. If you buy the 128 gig version, what are you doing? I have what were they back in the day? 8 gig? Like I have an original one that's probably like an 8 gig, and I'm sure there's stuff on it, but that was because your only way to get videos was download them from iTunes.
That being said, if I did have an option where I could download a 4K movie and it would be at a slightly higher quality than the actual streaming quality, I would do that. You know what I mean? And then you never have to think about buffering or whatever, or like download a season of a show. I feel like I would do that.
The only thing I would like to see them do is an optical audio out. That's it. That's the only thing I think
they
could do.
Used to have it.
I think you're right, but I think that's literally the only thing. I mean, that doesn't mean that the audio over HDMI isn't good enough quality. I don't mean that. It's just that most people are sticking them in a situation where you might want to have a different audio output that's not controlled by your TV.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, next one. This is a funny one. This is from Blue Sky. This is listener, I don't know what that name is. Zakawe, maybe? Why does Jason dislike Apple Notes so much? Why do you dislike Apple Notes, Jason?
When have I ever said that?
I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know if you've said that or not. That's why I thought it was funny.
Stephen, how many Apple Notes do you have?
I don't use Apple Notes, so that's what I told him. But I think I have like maybe a couple dozen, just because like testing or collaborative notes. I have like a lot. I have like with me and my family and me with my kids, a couple like basically Christmas lists. Those are my notes.
I have over 1,000, Stephen.
Over 1,000.
I use Apple Notes for everything.
Oh, you do?
I use it except for writing.
Right.
Every note I take is in Apple Notes.
I have 282 notes. I just looked.
I have 1,979, which is ironically the year I was born. I can't make any more. I'm done. I can't do that. It just occurred to me as I said that out loud, but I'm like, I cannot make any more notes. I use them all the time. I have organization for them, but the thing that's wonderful about Apple Notes is simply that it's the best search experience in a Notes app that I've found, right? Because it just searches everything. Oh yeah, the search in Apple Notes
is better. Bear is better.
It's not, but that's fine.
Bear is way better.
Well, the standard I judge how good search is, does it find the thing I'm looking for? And Apple Notes always does.
Notes
so that's all that matters.
Notes is good. And I'll give you the point that like if you do just an overall Spotlight search, your Notes content is probably going to come up before third-party app content, just with how that works.
I literally have it on my homepage at the top right there. It's like I use it all the time for taking notes. I
didn't know that.
I use it to sometimes I want to draft an email, but I don't want to be drafting the email in the email app because I'm afraid what if I accidentally send it?
No, I don't do that.
I want to work out what I'm going to say first, or I've done that for text messages. I've done that for all kinds of things. I'm going to have an MRI tomorrow, and when they called me to tell me what I needed to know, the Notes app, just put it right in there. Because you know what I can do later? Just search MRI.
So I do everything in Notes as well. I do it in Bear Notes because I prefer the Markdown support. I like the tag structure, and I like the way it looks. I feel like it's faster. Like Apple Notes is fast, don't get me wrong, but just getting to a new note right away, getting to the different tag, for some reason I feel faster in Bear. I wish I had collaborative features, although I don't know if anybody I actually work with would use Bear. But I do have 3,662 notes there. But the few times I've actually written things like an article for my website or things I've written in the past, I would use Bear for that as well. Whereas you use Ulysses for that, right?
Yep. I write everything that I'm going to, the way I must not have published this yet, but I do have an article that I think my problem was I was just trying to decide if I was going to use it for the newsletter or not, but it was about the 9 things that are always in my doc. And Notes is one of them. And the way it works for me is that Notes app is where I jot things down. I take notes. If I have a random idea, whatever. Ulysses is where I write everything I'm going to publish.
Okay. Yeah.
So writing is different than note taking.
No, I totally get that. How many Ulysses, what do they call them? Pages?
No, like they're notes. I have 3,782.
There you go. You
now keep in mind, like most of those, like that's how many words is that? 1.6 million words. So like I do a lot of writing in Ulysses.
1.6 million words. Yeah, you're gonna have more words than me for sure. No, that's all okay. So Jason does not dislike Apple Notes.
I don't know when I ever said that.
I don't know. Maybe you said something bad about it one time, and they were like, "Oh, he must hate Apple Notes."
Oh no, I'm a big fan of Apple Notes. I give Stephen a hard time about Bear. Fine. I have Bear, I think, installed on several of my devices. Sure. It's superfluous in my mind. It doesn't do anything better that Apple Notes does. But that's because I don't care about the markdown because I'm not using this for publishing. Right?
Right.
So.
Whereas, and I use it because I do a lot of copy as rich text or copy as HTML, especially like with podcast notes.
Yeah.
But
and I don't, and actually the deal breaker for me is that Notes has folders and hashtags. I prefer folders, whereas Bear uses tags, and I just don't like that.
I typically prefer folders over tags as well, although I have my Bear tags kind of just look like folders. So it doesn't
I understand, but they fundamentally are not.
But I will say, if there's ever a time where I copy and paste a large text block and there's like hashtags for like color hex codes or whatever, like if I'm pasting HTML just to look at it in my Notes app, then Bear will create a bunch of random tags all of a sudden and have like 3626 whatever, and it's like, no, don't do that.
Right.
So I'll give a Notes advantage there. All right, this one was interesting. I'm curious your practice on journaling, but this is from Threads. We had a bunch of responses. This is the journaling guide on Threads. Are you guys using your Apple Gear for personal reflection or a journaling practice? If not, will 2026 be the year you start? For me, I started when the Apple Journal app came out. One, because it was right there and easy, and I easily incorporated things like the places I visited that day, the podcasts I listened to, the photos. And I don't do it as often as I would like, but I leave the notifications on. And every once in a while, I'll see the notification to be like, hey, do you want to save all this Christmas Eve stuff? And I'll tap in and I'll just let it create a note. And for me, if I think I have to write a lot about a date or an entry, I'll never do it because it feels too overwhelming. So I just let the journal app take some photos, take the locations, and I'll change the title to like Christmas Eve 2024, and then that'll be it. And then sometimes I might write a little bit, like when I went to Dub Dub earlier this year, but that's the extent. I hope to do it more. I don't really have like a sit-down practice mindfulness, like write a lot practice, but I don't know, maybe next year. What about you?
No, I don't use my Apple Gear for personal reflection, and no, 2026 will not be the year I start.
Okay.
I did for some period of time at the end of 2022 through like February of 2023, and then a couple other random months, use day one. For a little bit of stuff. Yeah. There are definitely times when I probably should be better at this. It'd be a lot. Like I have the iPhone 15 event in here. There's just some photos in day one, and I did not write anything.
Nice.
I don't know, but I don't. To me, I am not saying that this is not valuable. I just don't value it. For me, personal reflection, I'll just scroll through the Photos app.
Yeah, and I will say, around the holidays, if you have a bunch of family over and you're not sure what to do, open the Photos app, go to the Memories tab, and just look at old photos. And it's actually great.
Well, and I do this thing where, I've talked about this before, where I will take photos, like at Apple events, to remember stuff. So, like, I have a lot of photos that mean more just of like, oh, yeah, I wanted to remember this, so here's the photo that reminds me of that thing, instead of writing about it. Maybe it's because I do words all the time. I don't want to be doing more words just for personal.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. All right, one more, and we'll take a break, and then we'll do a bunch others. This one is from Spencer on Threads. Question for each of us individually. The first one, Stephen, what has been the hardest part of going independent this year? I mean, health insurance is like the easy one.
The obvious answer.
But the bigger picture is just like, the unknown, obviously, like it feels like no income is guaranteed now, although my shortcuts community is the most regular and stable and is growing steadily. So that's helped ease the concern about like income fluctuations, but just the, non-permanence of income, you know what I mean? Like that's been the most difficult thing to think about. But if you really like think about it, even a full-time job is not necessarily a guarantee that you'll have a paycheck the rest of your life. Sure. Like any job your position could be dissolved, it could move, you might want to change. And so once you like realize like just because a job is called full-time doesn't necessarily mean it's more secure. I mean, you might have a very secure job, and I have in the past too. That's just been like the hardest thing to resolve in my mind. But I feel pretty good right now. It's been going well so far. Ask me a year from now. We'll see how it goes. But Jason, his question to you is very different. He said, do you foresee the current lag in software quality affecting people's relationship with their devices? Will the general public continue to tolerate increasingly buggy software, or will we reach a tipping point? I do see a lot of people complain on TikTok and Threads about like iOS and iOS 26, not like the design, although there's that, but just people saying like keyboard stinks or other things. But I don't know. What do you feel about software quality, longevity, people's satisfaction?
I mean, Spencer, I think I'm on my own record that I don't. What is wrong with my microphone? It just keeps making weird noises. I apologize. I don't know that I agree that there's a current lag in general software quality. Like, I'm not sure that objectively we can point to that. I think we hear about people's qualms with software quality more, but that's more a function of anyone can post anything on the internet, and there are companies that will just shove it in front of your face. See the earlier viral post that I posted on Threads, right? Like, so correct. I don't actually know, because I don't feel like iOS 26 is any more buggy. Yeah, the keyboard autocomplete thing is weird, right? But it's not existential. I mean, it's annoying because I type a lot of words on my thing, but that does not feel to me that there are more. I don't feel like we're increasing in the amount of bugs in software. Like when I look back at some of the software that I've used in the past, I'm like, okay, well, it's actually pretty stable, pretty good. I may not prefer some of the design choices, but those are not bugs. As much as we wish that they were, those were design choices. And so will the general public continue to tolerate increasingly buggy software? Yes. Will we reach a tipping point? Probably not, because here's the thing. Most people just don't even know. Also, most people don't use betas. Right? Like we use betas. So we do experience more bugs, and I always have to put them in the context of like, this will get fixed eventually. So
I do a lot of people they're like, the shortcut doesn't work. I'm like, what are you on? They're like, iOS 26.3 beta 1. I'm like, listen, talk to me when the public release comes out.
Listen, man.
Try to one of your static devices. But I do think, to your point, I mean, people just use technology way more often now, and so you're going to hear those complaints more often. Like that's just has not historically been. I mean, people weren't in it.
I think the software we're using today is the best we've ever used. I don't know that you can argue that there's a current lag in general software quality. And I think that what we hear from people is more, I just don't like the design choices. Or again, here's a good point. There's a piece of software I have to use on a pretty regular basis. And in like the last 3 or 4 weeks, they've released like 4 or 5 changes to the UI of a pretty important piece of that software. I'm like, stop what you like. No one asked you for this. Stop doing it. It's not, the software is not worse. It's just that there's this momentum inside of organizations to think they have to continually be tweaking stuff. And it's like, no, this is the don't connect your TV to the Wi-Fi thing. I don't need my TV to get software updates. It never needs to work better than it did the day that I bought it. Right. But companies think they have to be constantly doing that. So
don't do that. Don't fix what's broken.
What's not
if it ain't
broken?
Broke, don't fix it. Wow.
If it's broken, break it harder and then fix it.
It is the end of the year. All right, well, let's take a break, and then we're going to come back and say the Apple devices we're most looking forward to in 2026 and other questions from you guys. But first, this episode is brought to you by a new sponsor, Anti-Gravity A1. Jason and I just talked about the drones that we fly around and play around with on the last episode. Well, Anti-Gravity A1, it is the world's first all-in-one 8K 360-degree drone. Creates a new category for the drone industry. And it is an FPV, meaning you could actually have the goggles. You put on the goggles and you see the perspective of the drone. And because it's a 360-degree drone, it has immersive flight. So you put on the vision goggles, you experience a smooth, real-time 360-degree view powered by the OmniLink transmission that it sends. Also, it's got free motion control mode, cinematic aerial shots made easy, and you can relive your footage in the 360. So, put on the goggles, watch the playback, and you have immersive. I wonder if there's a way they could hook this up with Apple Vision Pro and do like a 360-degree video. But anyway, the Anti-Gravity A1 does that, whether you're playing back and while you're flying. The camera lenses are precisely positioned at the top, bottom of the drone. Advanced 360 image stitching algorithms powered by Insta360. They're the popular brand making all the 360 cameras. Makes the drone fully invisible when flying and in the final footage, so you won't be seeing any of the drone in the footage you take. And camera drones and FPV drones force you to nail the perfect angle mid-flight, while Anti-Gravity A1's 360-degree freedom capture makes everything possible. If you miss the shot, you just rewind and reframe the footage because you're capturing everything all the time. Everything, everywhere, all at once. And the new SkyPath system gives you ultimate control over your flight, allowing pilots to design, save, and automate complex flight routes. This thing looks awesome. I'm not even going to lie. So here's what you do. If you're thinking about buying it now, click the link down below. You get a free landing pad with your order when you get the Anti-Gravity A1 drone. So our thanks to Anti-Gravity A1. That link is in the show notes. You can get it there. And we're also brought to you by Copilot Money. Listen, if you're recovering from the holidays, both emotionally, physically, and financially, well, here's what you do. You get Copilot Money to help you organize all your bills. It uses AI to automatically categorize different recurring transactions, and then you can go back and review it. You can cancel things, start saving money on maybe all the dozens of streaming services you signed up for just to binge watch some stuff over the holidays. So you can see all your subscriptions, set and track savings goals with clarity, start the new year with purpose. And of course, you track your budget, you can set goals. And the best part is it has native apps across all the platforms. So iPhone, iPad, Mac, and the web. It's a beautiful looking app. And again, you can use it wherever you would like. 21,000 plus 5-star reviews. It was even in the Apple Store Awards Editor's Choice section and was a 2024 finalist for the Apple Design Awards. Plus, it has money tabs, so you have your dashboard, so you can view new transactions, trending budget categories, and all of that, net income. You see your transactions tab, and of course, your goals, whether you're saving for a vacation, budgeting for college, which Jason was talking about, his daughter going to college, and you can talk about the accounts tab, so you can connect all the accounts, see everything in one place, including your investments, and you're just easy to see all at once. Go to try.copilot.money/primary, and they have a special deal going on right now. You actually get 27% off, limited time offer. You get 26% off your first year when you sign up and go to try.copilot.money/primary. The link will be in the description as well. New users only, but you get 2 months free also with promo code PRIMARY. All that info is going to be in the show notes. Your money, beautifully organized now across every device. Our thanks to Copilot Money for sponsoring this episode. All right, back to the questions, and this is going to bring us into 2026 here, though we're going to answer a few more after this. But what are we most excited to see, Jason? What Apple product are we most interested in for 2026? And what non-Apple product do you each believe will be most interesting for your tech community? I believe there was another question here about what, looking back in 2025. So I might answer that question. But I don't know, Jason, what Apple product are you most interested in for 2026?
AirTags version 2. No, probably not.
Maybe.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
Not even.
I was thinking, what's the thing? That would be the thing I'm the least interested in, just to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, the Mac Studio is the thing I'm the least interested in. Not because it's not good. I'm just never going to buy one. I would say in 2026, I am looking forward to I don't know that it's interesting, but an M5 MacBook Air is always the new MacBook Airs are always interesting because they just keep getting so stinking good. I'm interested in that, and I'm probably interested in what they do with the iPad Mini.
Oh, the iPad. I mean, it's not getting touched this next year.
You don't think so?
It was.
Haven't there been some rumors that they're thinking about a new iPad Mini with an OLED screen? And I don't know.
The iPad Mini is get updated, every 5 or 6 years? And we got a new one last year.
That's true.
I just sent back my review unit yesterday.
That's the only reason he knows.
That's why I know, because I looked back when I got it. It came out October 2024. I don't think we're getting a new iPad Mini.
Okay, we're not getting a new iPad Mini. Oh, that's a bummer.
I would love to see Face ID on the Mac, specifically MacBook and MacBook Pros.
That's a feature, not a product, Stephen.
I know. I'm just throwing that out there. But okay. So product, the HomePod with a screen. This rumored HomePad that's been rumored for like 3 years. I'm really hoping. We didn't get the HomePod mini refresh this fall like they said we were going to get. We didn't get any of that stuff. So I'm really hoping for that HomePad with a screen, because I think for a smart home controller and whatever else it's going to do, maybe like playing music, like in the kitchen where I have a HomePod mini, one HomePod mini, and I have also the living room is right there. It's one room. So we have our Sonos Arc and Sub Gen 3 connected to the TV. Whenever someone wants to play music in the kitchen, they use the HomePod mini. I'm like, we have a Sonos Arc and a Sub right over there, but because it's so much harder to like get your phone out, do a device, whatever, if I could somehow have a device that just sits in the kitchen and someone could just tap on the screen and it automatically plays to the Sonos, and you can control the music on that device, you can have your recipe on that device, control all the smart home stuff, I'm excited for it. I hope it happens.
I mean, Google makes one of those, just so you know.
Not with mine. But anyway, so, and then the second part of the question, what do you believe the most interesting for your tech community? I mean,
whatever OpenAI does.
I mean, that's fair.
No, like, yeah, like, that's right.
OpenAI, but also, will the voice assistant on iPhone get Gemini? I'm very curious about that.
And that's still an Apple product.
No, I know. Well, that would definitely be a new product. I mean, a built-in voice assistant.
But the question is, what non-Apple product?
Oh, I'm sorry, non-Apple. Oh, well,
so Gemini. That's why I said No, I think it'll be whatever OpenAI does.
You're right.
That's the most interesting thing.
Is whatever OpenAI does. I don't
think it'll be good necessarily, but it'll be interesting for sure. 100%. I mean, the Humane AI pen was interesting. The Rabbit R1 was interesting.
That's fair.
Terrible.
Well, a follow-up question then. This is from Andy, longtime listener. What are your guesses for new Apple product releases in 2026, which we kind of said, and what do you think IVE will create with OpenAI? That latter one, what do you think, Jason? What is he going to create with OpenAI?
I think it's going to be basically a pin that you don't wear. Right? It's what you have right now, which is a pin that sits on your desk charging. I don't know. I have a hard time. I wish that he was making a watch, because we know he likes watches. We know he likes the digital watch thing. That I don't know what else. Again, I'm not a product designer, so whatever. This is what I'm not curious enough. We've already established that. I don't know what the form factor could be like, but I think that what they're trying to create is a ChatGPT companion, which the thing is, Apple already makes one of those. It's really good.
Yeah, there's no way it's going to be it's going to have a screen. I'm convinced it's going to have a screen. For them to create something that just has a mic and maybe even a camera, but has to integrate with the iPhone app, I don't think they're going to launch something like that.
Well, and let me just say this. When you start a new company, I say this having started so many. No.
Sure.
Everyone looks at the iPhone and they do not want to have to deal with the gatekeeper, right, of the App Store, right? That's in Meta for sure, right? That's why they bought Oculus. It's because they just wanted their own platform. That's why they went all into the metaverse. It's why they're releasing open source models. They're trying to put everybody else out of business, basically, because if they can make a good enough model for free, then no one else will be able to afford to make the expensive models. Great, that's fine. What Humane was trying to do was free people from their phone. Stephen, do you know what people really like to use? Their phone.
Their phone.
No one is asking to be, okay, maybe not no one, but people are not asking to be free from their phone. They just would like it to be smarter and do more things for them, right? Like, and the number of people who are like, gosh, I really don't. My email app has all these like this. The number's like 10,000, and I can't. I'm like, you could just turn that off. The thing people really mean when they say "free me from my phone" is get rid of the red dots on all the apps. If you want to be the dominant AI service, you don't also have to make a product to run that service on, because the perfect product for that exists. It's the iPhone. Just make the best experience for using AI on the iPhone, and you can win that space.
I agree. So this thought is in confliction with that agreement. I think they're going to release something with a screen, because if they just do something with a mic, camera, it's just another Humane AI pin. It's another Rabbit. A Rabbit R1 had a screen, but I think it's going to be like a legitimate touchscreen. They're not going to call it a smartphone. It's not going to be something you connect with your carrier. It's going to be that other device, because they even said in their initial interview, Ive and Sam Altman, they were like, it's going to be that third device, your phone, your laptop, and your third thing. I think it's going to have a screen because they want Johnny Ive to talk about something with a screen. They want it to feel like a substantial piece of tech, not just a microphone that talks to an app. That's my thought.
Well, okay, to be clear, I think you're right. I just think they're wrong.
Oh,
I just don't think they should be doing
okay.
that. No, I just don't.
Sure,
Why
sure,
are you
sure.
doing that? Don't make hardware. Like what they're trying to describe is something that fits into the same category as this, right? This is my third device.
Remarkable.
Yeah. Which is like, it's,
Right.
you don't need to, like, no, this device, if this device ran ChatGPT, first of all, that'd be ridiculous. The battery would be gone in like 40 seconds.
Right.
But like, people don't need that. They could just
Right.
make the greatest software experience and just stop trying to. People are trying so hard to create the next iPhone. And I'm not saying there won't be something after the iPhone. It'll probably be glasses, whatever.
Right.
Stop trying to do that. Like it'll happen eventually, but you're not going to, why there's so much more money involved in just making the best experience on the iPhone.
I'm going to throw something wild out there just because I want it on the internet in case it actually happens. The amount of nostalgia right now for like the iPod, I feel like is pretty high. I see a lot of creators posting like iPod Nano stuff and even the click wheel iPod, people like creating, just things that look like it or wanting it back. People saying Apple should release this again. Imagine if OpenAI made something that was that kind of size, maybe even form factor. So small screen, interesting user interface tactily, and it would be your music player. It would be, and so they can use the ploy of leave your phone behind because you'll have music and maybe you'll have some other stuff, but you could also interact with ChatGPT on it. Maybe they partner with Spotify or whatever. I don't know. I feel like maybe they could draw on some nostalgia plus like teenage engineering making some kind of cool hardware. Maybe.
All of the people who get one of those will still carry their phone everywhere.
100%.
Like I don't.
100%.
This doesn't make any sense, Stephen.
But people will stop taking like people won't want their phone in the selfie with them. They'll want this thing if it looks cool enough. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
50,000. The top 50,000 people on Instagram. That's what they'll want. But that's not a business model.
No, it's not. But we'll see. I just want it out there in case it happens. I could say I called it first. That's all. Now, Basic Apple Guy, he had the question that I was thinking of. Number one, Basic Apple Guy, piece of tech, Apple or otherwise, that added the most value to you personally over the past year. Part two, Apple Pencil pointing down. Am I right? I shouldn't have read that. Like the second part.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I'm going to say I actually have it right here. I didn't plan on actually holding it on camera, but the one piece of tech, non-Apple, that has made the biggest difference in my life, especially as a creator, is the Osmo Pocket 3. Everybody talked about this thing, and I was like, I don't want to believe the hype, and then I got one, and the hype was real. And basically, this has allowed me to make a bunch more video content, especially when traveling. When I went to WWDC, this was the only camera I brought. I didn't bring any Sony camera. I had the Osmo Pocket 3 and my iPhone. That's what I'm bringing to CES too. I'm just bringing this and my iPhone, and it's amazing. And anytime I shoot anything outside of the studio, I use the Osmo Pocket 3 with the DJI Mic 3. It is an unbeatable combo. I just love it. So this is the piece of tech that made the difference for me this year. What about you?
That added the most value. I mean, it has to be my MacBook Air because literally all of the value that I had over the past year were words typed into the MacBook Air. Like, I mean, it's the thing I use. And I've thought about this for real. If I could only have one Apple device, full stop, it would have to be the MacBook Air.
For sure.
It would just
100%.
have to be that. Like I would just have, because I can't do my full job on my iPhone.
Right,
I love
exactly.
having an iPhone. I love my AirPods Pro 3. The AirPods Pro 3 would probably be second for sure, right? And then probably this Mac Mini. The iPhone would probably be like 4. Like it would not be up there on the list. So anyway, I would say the MacBook Air.
Okay, very good. All right, let's try to get through these quickly. Paul on Threads, is the iPhone 13 mini usable in 2026, and should Apple release another mini phone soon? I think it's usable. I don't know. Actually, my neighbor actually uses one. She has an iPhone 13 mini. She doesn't want to upgrade because she likes the small size, and she's just still rocking it. So it's definitely usable. You get iOS 26 on it. I think your battery life, you might want to swap that out. But should they make another mini? I think the Air has supplanted the need for the mini, and I think the Air is probably going to sell more than the mini. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't want to pick on him for this question, but it's like, what is it usable mean? Like you can still connect it to cell towers and Wi-Fi. So yeah, it's usable. And the screen is not too small because the app icons have not gotten bigger. Like, yes, it's usable. Is it a good idea at this point? I don't know. Like people, I guess, like the mini have a lot of affection for it. I never fully understood that particular thing, but I don't think Apple's ever going to make another one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's done. This is Jason on X. He's asking about HomePod setups, and I have a clear answer on this one. But he is asking, when you're setting up HomePods, especially like throughout the house for the kids' rooms, do you have that HomePod assigned to their Apple ID or to mine as like the home owner or the smart home admin? 100% tie that HomePod Mini to their Apple ID so the listening history is theirs, not yours. That's why you want to do it. That's my answer.
We don't have HomePods like that. We have 4 HomePod Minis, and we have 2 HomePods that are not plugged into anything right now. So yeah, they're all just in my. But I don't. Is the listening history thing a problem other than Wrapped? Like, what does it matter?
If you care about Wrapped, then it's a problem. But also, like for suggestions and stuff, it is kind of annoying because, like, if I ever try to do a suggestion thing in Apple Music, it's like Kids Bop or whatever.
We have a rule at our house, Stephen, which is that the only time music is allowed to be played out of speakers that are not in your ear is basically Christmas morning. Like, no one plays music out loud at our house. No, that's not true. My wife does actually a lot, but she just uses the Google Nest Home Hub thing because it'll just play Apple Music, and it's actually a very good speaker, by the way. Like, those things have very good speakers, but she plays it so quiet that I forget. She has like sonic hearing, and
That's
I'm like,
hilarious.
oh, there is music on.
Nice. All right, last 2, and then we're going to go to a bonus episode, which will also be a listener question. That Virtual Boy on X, head shavers, give us the best. And I actually have a thought on this because, I started shaving my head, as you could see if you're watching. And I tried the Freebird, which is the one that I got Instagram ads all the time. My wife actually got it for me for Christmas, and it was good. But I tried another model on Amazon, and it is significantly better. And I got the okay to return the Freebird and just stick with this one. It is the Pitbull Gold Pro, and it got a closer shave, took less swipes, and this is the one I would go with. So I've tried like 3 so far, and this has been the winner. So yeah, Skull Shaver Pitbull Gold Pro. Jason, you think you're going to start shaving your head?
No, I have no helpful information on this. I have warned my children that if I start to go bald, I will just shave my head.
Exactly.
I'm just very fortunate that I am apparently a ways away from that.
That's right. Well, lucky you. I mean, I could have gone longer with it, but I was like, why delay the inevitable? I just went for it. All right, last one in the show. This is from Fernando Silva, friend of the show, 9 to 5 Mac, makes videos there. He also has a podcast there. You walk into a room. Every single currently selling iPad in any size config and any color is lined up in front of you, and you have all the accessories. You have to pick one iPad setup to use for the rest of your life, and the rest go, extinct. Poof. Which one are you picking? So, which iPad are you picking, basically? And I thought about this a little bit because I was like, well, that's easy. Just top-of-the-line iPad Pro. But the 2 qualifiers that I would struggle with is 11-inch or 13-inch. Because I use mine more as a tablet than I do a computer, because I edit podcasts on the iPad. And the nano texture versus glossy question. Those are the 2 questions in my mind. Do you already have your decision?
Yeah, neither of those are questions. It's the 11-inch iPad Pro, like that, with just the normal screen. That's by far. If you have to be with this for the rest of your life, is what he said. Like, this is not complicated. There's no question that if you have to choose one, the 11-inch iPad Pro is the best option. And you just get the glossy. You get a Magic Keyboard, and you get a Smart Folio and an Apple Pencil, and you just walk out of the store and whatever, you're fine. Like, that's great.
Black or white Magic Keyboard?
Black, because you're going to get the space gray, iPad Pro.
Okay. Here's the thing. Now that I've been using Stage Manager more, and I've been building shortcuts on iPad more often, I'm going to go M5, top of the line, 2 terabytes, 13-inch, silver iPad Pro with white Magic Keyboard, Apple Pencil Pro, and a Smart Folio.
But Steven, you have to use it for the rest of time. That white keyboard is going to look so bad.
Listen, I've had white keyboards for multiple years.
The rest of your life, Steven. This is what he said. You're going to, 40 years from now, you're going to really regret. You're going to be happy you're still kicking, but you're going to be really upset about your choice of a white Apple Magic Keyboard.
But listen, even the black Magic Keyboard, like, you get marks on it. Like, look at that.
It looks like a patina on the black. It looks like you're just a dirty person. Like, Steven, I have a white case for my iPad mini, and it's my biggest regret in life is that I put a white case on it. And now my wife won't let me buy a second one because the only thing wrong with it is that it's gross. So now that iPad mini has to stay in the bedroom.
Let us know, listeners. Leave us a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcast. White or black Magic Keyboard for the iPad. That's what I want to know. But I think I would go with glossy if I had to live it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Just so I could.
This was an easy question, Fernando. Come on. I mean, it was a great question. I really like it.
It's good.
But without a doubt, this was easy.
I would have done 11-inch for a long time until recently. Now
Steven,
I
you
think
can
I'm
plug it into a monitor.
I'm never doing that. I'm not doing that. I want to be able to use it on that. I want it on my patio with the Magic Keyboard to build shortcuts while I'm next to my pool. That's what I want to do.
Most people go to sit by a pool are not thinking about building shortcuts.
But if you could build shortcuts anywhere, why not? Why is my mic popping? We have to end this show. I'm so mad right now. I don't know why my mic is popping. Anyway, we're going to answer one question for the bonus episode, which comes from Trevor on Threads. If you could only have 4 apps that you could download on your iPhone, iPad, and Mac, what would they be and why? 4 apps. You only get 4 apps. I already know 2 out of 3. I'm going to pick the next 3 in a minute. But if you want to listen to the bonus episode, get an ad-free version, and become a member for 2026, go for the year. You can get $50 for the entire year. You get all of that plus the unedited feed. Primary Tech Daily is going to be coming back January 5th, Monday. And so you can do all of that at join.primarytech.fm. You can also support us directly on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for your support over the year, for those of you in the community, and just for listening and watching. So grateful for all of you being in the community and a part of this podcast. For those watching on YouTube, I'd love to hit 5,000 subscribers next year, maybe even 10,000. Let's go crazy. If you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, that link is in the show notes as well. Look out for Jason's podcast coming out and his Substack. That link is in the show notes. And shortcutsuniversity.com will also be all coming out in January. Thank you, everyone, for listening, watching. Have a happy and safe new year, and we'll catch you next week live from the show floor.